Today, we're going to explore one of the most powerful ways to think about life's challenges, the metaphor of the potter and the clay. We're going to see how those moments of intense pressure might actually be moments of incredible purpose. So let's just jump right in. Have you ever had one of those seasons where you feel like you're being stretched thin, pulled in a million different directions? Or maybe you feel squeezed by your circumstances, just totally confused about where you're even going? Yeah, it's a feeling we all know.
But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? The big idea we're digging into today is that this pressure, it isn't random. It's not a punishment for something you did. It's intentional. It is formation.
All right, first up, let's really unpack this whole idea of pressure. Think about it. Instead of seeing those tough times, a career setback, a personal struggle, as a sign that you're off track, this way of thinking says it's the complete opposite. These moments are the proof, the actual evidence that a master craftsman is on the job, actively and intentionally shaping you. It means you haven't been forgotten, not even for a second.
So that brings us to our part in this whole process. Where do you fit in? Well, in this metaphor, you are the clay.
And what's really amazing is how ancient this idea is. This isn't some new self-help trend. The prophet Jeremiah wrote this thousands of years ago. It's a foundational spiritual idea, this concept of being held, of surrendering into the hands of a creator who knows what they're doing.
So the crucial takeaway here is that massive shift in perspective. In a world that can feel so chaotic, so random, this says you're not just collecting dust on a shelf somewhere. Your life isn't just a series of random accidents. No, you're on the potter's wheel, held securely by hands that have a plan, hands that can see the finished masterpiece even when all you can feel is the spinning.
And this really gets to the heart of it, right? The gap between what it feels like and what it actually is. So that feeling of being totally crushed by a situation, maybe it's really about being formed for what's next. That feeling of being broken, it could be the very process of being strengthened in a way you never could have on your own.
And Isaiah takes it even deeper, adding this really intimate language. You are our Father. This isn't some cold, distant artist. It's a loving parent. This frames the whole process not just in power, but in a deep personal relationship. It invites us to trust.
So how does this shaping actually work? I mean, what are the tools the potter uses? Let's get into it. This is such a powerful image. Before a potter even thinks about shaping the vessel, they have to knead the clay. They press into it, fold it, press into it again. And why? To get rid of these tiny hidden air bubbles. Spiritually, this is seen as God working to get out the hidden stuff in us. That little pocket of pride, that secret fear of failure, that old bitterness, the things that would cause us to crack under real pressure later on.
And get this, the language itself tells the story. The original Hebrew word for form, used way back in Genesis and Jeremiah, is yatsar. And it doesn't just mean to make, it means to fashion, to shape, and even to squeeze into purpose. That word squeeze is everything. It totally captures that feeling of pressure, but it frames it with the end goal, purpose.
So we can kind of break down the process into three key parts. First, you've got the water, which symbolizes the word and spirit, making us soft and teachable. Then comes the pressure from the potter's hand. That's what builds our character. And finally, there's the constant rotation of the wheel. That's like the changing seasons of life that teach us how to be stable and trust through all the ups and downs.
All right, now for what is often the hardest part of this whole journey, being refined in the fire.
What's absolutely fascinating is how this ancient wisdom lines up perfectly with modern science. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which is one of the most effective tools we have for things like anxiety, is literally built on this idea of reframing. It's all about teaching yourself to challenge a negative thought, like, I failed, so I'm a failure, and replace it with a growth-oriented one, like, okay, that didn't work, what can I learn from this? The research is so clear, this practice builds resilience. It's like a workout for your mind.
And that sounds a whole lot like what the Apostle James wrote thousands of years ago. He actually says to count it all joy when you face trials. And he's not saying the pain is fun, not at all. He's saying to find joy in knowing the outcome, knowing that the testing produces patience and maturity. It's all about that forward-looking perspective.
So here's the bottom line. The fire has a purpose. In pottery, the extreme heat of the kiln is what transforms a soft, fragile piece of mud into something permanent and useful. The fire isn't there to destroy it. It's there to complete it, to strengthen it, to seal it, and to prepare it for whatever it was made for.
And the value of this whole process is just immeasurable. The Apostle Peter takes it even further. He says that the result of these fiery trials, your tested, genuine faith, is more precious than pure gold. It produces something of eternal value that could not have been made any other way.
Okay, this all leads to a final, absolutely crucial part of the story, the potter's promise to finish what he started.
Seriously, think about this, especially in a culture that is so terrified of failure. A master potter doesn't throw away good clay. If a pot collapses on the wheel, they don't just sigh and toss it in the trash. No, they see its value. They add some water, recenter it, and they start again. The clay is just too precious to waste. And the idea here is that you are seen the exact same way. No matter how many times you've collapsed, you are never a write-off.
Now this is a powerful reframe for anyone who feels like they've been stuck in a difficult season forever. There's an ancient teaching that says a simple, everyday pot could be made pretty quickly, but a special vessel, a vessel of honor, something intricate and beautiful, that required much more time and careful attention from the potter. So a long, meticulous process isn't a sign of your failure. It could be a sign of your value and the significance of your purpose.
And this is the ultimate promise that holds the entire metaphor together. It's the guarantee. The work that was started in you will be finished. The potter is committed to the project. It's a promise that all the pressure, all the spinning, and all the fire will, in the end, result in a finished masterpiece.
So, when you look at all of this, the intentional pressure, the purposeful shaping, the refining fire, and the promise of completion, the real question isn't whether the potter is working. Everything we've looked at suggests that he is. The real question, the one that's left for us, is will you trust the potter?